Welcome back here into Queen City News Now. Respect Our Daughters. It's an organization that raises awareness about trafficking women of color. And Francis Beasley, he's joining the effort here as CEO with a coast-to-coast walk. Now, telling us a little bit more about this cause, about why you are walking so far. First of all, can you tell us a little bit more about what cause you're raising awareness for here?
Yeah, it's ultimately to raise awareness around the high numbers behind the abuse, the violence, and trafficking and murder of women, and specifically in marginalized communities of women of color. My research on a national level was just so much that I felt that just more people needed to know. Not that it doesn't impact all of us, but I saw that in communities of color especially, the numbers they just spoke for themselves, and I needed to do something to hopefully raise enough awareness where people would start looking and start looking and maybe wanted to do something about it, keep the conversation going and maybe get involved.
So, of course, it can happen to anyone, but when you're looking at the percentage of Black, Indigenous, and women of color, what's kind of the difference that we're really looking at?
Well, when you're talking about Indigenous women, I mean, literally, it's oftentimes, maybe in the Carolinas, there aren't a ton of reservations, but in some of the areas where you're in Oklahoma, you're in Arizona, you're going through New Mexico, going to some of those areas, it's just, when you see a Native American woman, an Indigenous woman, you really are talking maybe 4 out of 5. I mean, the rates are so high, 80%, I mean, have experienced violence in their lifetime. I mean, you are really looking at a woman that has a person that ultimately has probably been abused in some way during their lifetime. In regards to trafficking numbers, when you talk about African American women, although African Americans make up 13.5% of the U.S. population, when you take women, Black women and Black girls, they make up nearly 35 to 40% of the trafficking numbers. So when you start looking at the statistics nationally, it really is something that it's a silent epidemic that is taking place, and these communities are being targeted.
So what should we do about this? You hear these numbers, you see how extreme that this difference is. What can people do? I
think one is that we have to remember we live in an information age. Whip out your cell phone and just start to research it. It doesn't take much. The numbers are there. And also to remember that this can happen to anyone. Traffickers are watching. Whether people realize this or not, your young person might be going through some things, and they're putting this all online through TikTok videos, through everything. And just like you're watching, traffickers are watching also. People who mean to do them harm also are doing this. And so really paying attention to the information they're putting out there. Is it prying in your young person's life? Yes, it is. But just so you know, a trafficker, it's not, get rid of the idea that these are people that are waiting around to throw you in the back of a car and drive off with you like the movie Taken. No, it usually comes through a very seductive, very romantic way, and I can do all the things and I can fill in all the gaps in your life, and you have no idea. It almost seems like it's just a great relationship.
The tactics change quite a bit as we evolve.
Yes.
So as you're raising awareness about how these tactics happen, how much of an epidemic that this is, what does your walk look like? What is this journey that you're on here?
Yeah, it's been a long one without question. I'm about 3,200 miles into it now. I started in LA, LA to the Las Vegas Strip, to Phoenix, Arizona, to Albuquerque, New Mexico, to Oklahoma, Dallas, Houston, Baton Rouge, Jackson, Birmingham, and now North Carolina. And I'm about 50 miles outside of North Carolina. I should arrive here by Sunday. I should arrive sometime midday. And then I'll finish at the Statue of Liberty, hopefully around mid-September.
Okay, and what do your stops in all these cities look like? What do you do?
Well, not much. It's mainly resting. It's resting because you have to get off your feet as much as possible. So I'm about 12 to 13 miles a day. I'm on my feet, and then I'm off for the next 12. Just stay off your feet, rest, hydrate, and get ready for the next day.